Hello and welcome everyone to our Agile podcast. Today with me as host as usual, Max, your humble Scrum Master, and please welcome Marco.
Welcome everybody.
So, today me and Marco will be investigating such a topic as importance of asking why. AI. Yeah, a hot topic. AI is taking over some parts of technical issues and moreover, it is getting good at it. Like building architecture solutions, algorithms, writing code, refactoring. And this is why it is more important to switch our focus during the development from how I am implementing this stuff to actually why I am implementing this stuff. So let's tackle a topic a little bit today. Marco, can you please tell us, is it still possible for us to be only a coder after the introduction of AI?
This is a very good question, Maxime, because now AI is becoming so good that is able also to mimic some jobs that before were in our mentality were for sure destined to people. One of these is, of course, the software development. Now the AI is able to code, to write also quality code, to understand some like detailed topics and also execute them and give you some even like functioning code that the companies can use directly. This means that sometimes we are now comparing people that are studying years and years of coding, of quality coding, to also, let's say, technologies that can do it, and since they are technologies they can do it way better and also cheaper. So this comparison looks really, let's say, it's not equal at all, because the machines can do the things way faster. Some of the, let's say, calculations and production of coding, even writing in machine language, can do it faster. So is it still possible to be only a software developer? First of all, we want to focus on the fact that what does it mean only software developer? Because actually, software developer means a lot of things. What we want to understand, if one person can be only a coder, as you correctly said. So one person that is only focused to building the code and is not so interested on who is using it, why is using it, what is the importance of the code in the market, right? There are a lot
Hmm.
of people that don't want to, let's say, focus on this kind of things. They just want some requirements, technical requirements, to transform in code. This is something that we are putting ourselves in comparisons with AI, and here AI is the risk of winning hands down. So uh, what we want to do now is to try to understand what is the requirement that the code has in the market, who is using it, what is the human feeling on this code. If you want an example, I normally in my experience I saw some people, let's say, cutting the dividing two areas of software development, which is the back end and the front end.
More often?
Normally, yeah, yeah. Um, Normally, the front enders are people that also care about what is the human interaction of it, right? They need to understand also who is using their code, because the people can see, and it doesn't only need to be code-wise, clean and polished, but also human-wise. In the side of human, it needs to be pleasant. This is something that we saw the AI still struggling with. Maybe in the future also they will be able to do this, but right now we see it struggling to make it pleasant for people. While the backender mostly focus on like the quality of the code, the performances, and this is something that the AI can do also in the regard. So I think it's very important to also take a little bit of the mindset of the front enders right now. So not become everybody front enders, of course. Not everybody can do this job, but but take a little bit of this mindset to understand who is using our code, because it's also important, because also backend code is used by humans, has an impact in the market, and becoming a little bit more functional, if I have to say.
Oh, we're getting into the functional requirements soon enough. Okay. All right. Then, after that being said, while it's true, but as I also mentioned, there are some, let's call it creative parts in the work that guys do, in the work that we have, that AI can be creative with, and its approach is not quite working.
Yeah, actually, this is one of the reasons why living and getting a human touch can also help in this kind of jobs. This is also why becoming functional, understanding the environment can help. Not only because we develop code that can go to humans and can be pleasant for humans, but also because we can take example of the human experiences that then becomes creativity. We all know that creativity comes really from human experience. There is a lot of creativity that comes out of it. And we know for certain that many design patterns, for example, in the coding environment, are created by like using some kind of human let's say human creativity, life experience of the surroundings, to in order to be created. I don't know, I'm thinking of the factory pattern, for example. I'm thinking of the inversion of control. These are all things that take inspiration from life experience. This kind of creativity, this kind of breaking the rules, still the AI is not good at it. And it's very important. I think that there are these kind of small things in coding that is similar to actually writing a book, writing a novel. We see also this kind of things in let's say in the writing skills of the AI. Um, Code as well as a novel needs to be also creative and readable by other people. Maxim, we all probably got the experience of having to refactor some kind of code written by somebody else and putting our hands on the head because like we don't understand what's written and maybe it works, but it's really not readable at all.
Yep.
So I think this is very, very important to understand that we as developers, as colleagues, as employees, as humans, have the ability to understand what happens to our code after this leaves our hands and who is using it, and for what kind of thing. And the AI is not really good at it yet. A code that is testing to some testers will have to look and behave in some way. A code that is testing to the users will have to look and behave in some other way. And this is very, very important. It's all about the, let's say, difference between understanding also functional requirements, so not only technical requirements, and put them in action, while on the other end only sticking to technical requirements and do not, let's say, not caring on the surroundings, you know.
Oh, hot topic. Speaking of, as you mentioned, the functional and non-functional requirements, let's tackle this topic a little bit. Maybe for someone who is not quite familiar with these meanings, could you please briefly explain us what are the functional requirements and the non-functional requirements? As you mentioned, in a, let's call it, human approach.
Yeah,
For our
yeah,
listeners and viewers to understand, maybe if they're like just newbies into what we do here and what we're trying to explain, and what is the main difference between these two, as you think?
it actually makes a lot of sense what you said, because the, let's say, functional requirements are requirements that or capabilities of the code that the products must satisfy in order to have an impact on the market, right?
Mhm.
They are quite understandable for many people. Um, they are quite understandable for let's say even non-technical people, so even people that are not developers can understand the functional requirements. And they have like, they are, as you said correctly, Maxim, they are designed to support humans. So why am I building this product? What is the effect that this product is having on the society, right? these are all functional. I mean, of course, these are higher and higher principles more than functional requirements, but these are the principles out of which directly we extract functional requirements. And it's very important to understand them, not only to know them, but also to understand them, and in case being those software developers that can change them in somehow if they don't make sense. While the non-functional requirements are requirements that are purely technical, normally there is a translation of the functional requirements into technical requirements when we want to utilize some kind of technology. And yeah, this is fairly used. Normally software analysts also do this. They, let's say, decompose some functional requirements to create technical requirements that then can be applied by coders. But the idea is that having only coders that just want the translation of the functional requirements of the non-functional into non-functional requirements um, could maybe in a threat because of the AIs, while understanding also the functional requirements, so understanding the market, the users, trying to understand what is their real need. This is very, very important. It's something that the AI cannot do, and if we do it good, it means that we can become better software developers. We can rival the AIs, and we can understand. And I think we can code better. This is actually very, very important. So this is why I think the non-functional requirements are starting to become less important. I see a future where we could make use of the AI by, let's say, giving the correct inputs to the AI that can translate
Mm-hmm.
the inputs into code. And in order to give these correct inputs, we need to understand clearly the functional requirements. From the functional requirements, we would have an output from the AIs that will translate into code, and we need to understand this code again to maybe make some changes, etc., and adapt to our case. This is the use case that I see for um, the AI in the future.
Actually, yeah, very good example because such things as yeah, the code could be clean. I mean, the code that would be produced by the AI, right? So it could be clean. It could be done like by the book with all the good technical practices that exist and that we use nowadays. Maybe something extra like AI related. But till the moment, it's going to be readable, as you also mentioned. We might need some help there, definitely.
Yeah, definitely. But I think there are also some things that we do in work that help in this kind of mindset. For example, agile practices, they help in this regard, right? In the agile practices, we are trying not to divide the two areas with the documentation and the code, but we want to somehow create a bond between the two and make the software developers more aware of what they're doing. So every user story has got so much information that are also described by developers during the refinement. Um, One of the principles of agile methodology contains the code as documentation, which means the code needs to be also readable because it's itself the documentation. All of this, I don't know if you agree with me, Maxim, but all of this, I think, is going into the direction of having the software developers more aware of what is the documentation, what is the function, what are the functional requirements, because it could be embedded in the code, right?
More likely, yes. But I would say only the practice can show us. But yeah, the things that we are trying to do here are definitely as what you described, like plus one for me, no doubts here. It's just the matter of habits and practices from team to team, from project to project, company to company. Some of them are more administrative heavy, I would say, and some of them are just not, and the projects are more like living beings, and this is what, like, in my belief, as a step aside, gives them some sort of an edge in this battle for the market, for the endpoint consumer, like who gets the first at the market, this like so-called time to market, right? Also
Yeah.
the agilability of a team or teams, how fast they can react to changes, because the changes could be not also only from the inside but also from the outside, from the market, from your competitors, and all of these just adds up. And this is also maybe why we should not be afraid of AI, because that might be our tool, right? Like even as a coder, that can help you to speed up and to find just a better solution than then in the end you will implement by the end of the day.
Absolutely, absolutely. I totally agree with you. I know that all of the things that we discussed here in this episode of the podcast would be um, can be some kind of scary for some people, some kinds of coders, but that's actually not at all. The AI is, as any technological improvement, is an opportunity. It's not something that will replace jobs, but that will heavily change them in the approach, which means that coders will not disappear in time. Absolutely. And actually, what let's say AI is also suggesting the people is that we need to be, as actually a lot of agile methodologies are have in their structure, people and also software developers need to be a little bit more, let's say, lean towards the product thinking. So they have to have in their mind what is the need of the customer, and they cannot only, or it would be harder to only be a coder for just the sake of the code, but they need to understand who this code is going to. And this is all the discussion that we made before, to understand the value out of the functional requirements, the importance of the functional requirements, and how to translate these into code. And sometimes this is not the obvious, like most performance or how the machine would translate this to code, because humans are humans, and I think humans for now can understand each other better than AI. This is still a thing. Who knows in the future? But this is still a thing. And so um, if we learn to be more, let's say, to put in the center more the customer and the product and who is this is destined to, I think the role of the coder will never end, or at least will not end in the near future. Will change for the better, because we will have a very good tool in order to avoid even the manual work that also a software developer needs to do. So I think it's a very, let's say, positive future, thanks to the also to AI technologies, if we learn how to make the very good use out of them.
So yeah, basically this tool might help us to skip all the boring part and jump straight away to the funniest parts, basically.
Exactly. Skip more of the space and remove the commas. I think we all, I think we all can be happy about it.
Indeed. So, as a final thoughts, what we can say from my side, I would say that guys, whatever it is, don't be afraid of the AI is coming, because this is a tool. This is a good tool that will make some use for you. If you haven't tried it out, you can try it out. It's not that scary as it looks like. And also all these things about product thinking, customer centric approach. This is a big deal, and over time it will come bigger and bigger, like as me and Marco suppose.
Yes, totally agree.
Okay, then I would say for this, that will be it. Thank you very much, guys, for joining this session. And as always, we'll see you in the next series. Have a nice day.
Thank you. Have a nice day.